Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now the audience chance to step up to the mic here. I will only recognize questions coming from the mic. You can ask any person any question that is within the framework of what we are discussing today. So if you do not mind, anybody just walking to this mic, please speak to the mic. And if you do not have a question, it means they have answered all the questions that they are possibly to ask. Anybody? Coming, yes. So, yeah, and if you want to sit close by to ask the next question, so I'm going to allow each person to ask one question at a time. You can get back into the back of the queue and then ask the next question. Just move it down. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Hi, my name's Brad Young. I live about a block away from here. We got to hear Mike's vision for the downtown core. I'm just wondering the other candidates, what you see like.
Keep it specific. Ask somebody because now ask a specific person or two.
Yeah. I don't really want to do that, so I'm just going to ask my question. I want to see a high-density downtown while condominiums continue to be built in Timberlake. Is there any recourse through council? I don't know who specifically wants to answer this question.
Any volunteers?
Yes, I can reply this question. We should, principally speaking, we should try to keep downtown as clean as possible. There is a lot of traffic there, and this arena and sports complex, I am not for favor of it. There should be a fadal to be made in the north, and a few more trafficability like Manic Street could be opened, and there are a few patches there, and Fraser also. So maximum inflow of the traffic, it passes, and more Parkdale for the parking places may be built. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Mike, want to say something?
Thank you, Brad. That's a good question. In the original NDP that came with this last time, the downtown core had a lot of condominiums in the plan. The municipality controls the zoning for that area, and they can dictate what type of buildings you put in that area. So it can be done very easy. Now that plan was designed specifically to have the 20 to 35 age groups specifically come in and get those starter homes and places where they can live. You've seen it in New York, you've seen it in a lot of the major centers where they have houses as small as 300 square feet. They're very, very different. Hopefully we don't see that here. But I think the plans were for something like 720 square foot condos. And once again, if you have coffee shops, if you have the entertainment section, you have restaurants, you have this health center that may be going down the Golden Buffalo, you have theaters, you've now created the infrastructure for that will occur. You can't have one without the other, because no developer is going to build all these condos and spend millions and millions of dollars if there's not something for those people to use. Okay.
I think anybody else?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think it's a great question, and I agree with you in theory. I'd love to see high density downtown. Downtown core is one of the highest taxed areas within the community. So we would need to see roads of relief. We would need to see better intersections, and we'd need to see some more ways to get in and out of the downtown core. And if we were able to do that, if we were to put that groundwork in place first, I'd love to see professional retail space come on up and go up high density. I'd love to see residential high density. But that infrastructure has to be there to support it first. That's where we've made a lot of mistakes in the past. We didn't have the infrastructure, and we were having to cope with that. A Franklin Avenue that goes down to one lane, that's not going to support a high density. We need to start looking at how we're building, and if we're going to go that route, we really need to start planning something like that ahead of it. So the groundwork should be there first. If the groundwork's there first, I'd love to see more high-rises come on up. That's more dollars in the coffers at the municipality, which should be more services for us as citizens. Thank you.
Anybody else that wants to answer that question? Nobody's in. Any other question, please? Thank you.
My name is Kevin Thomas. I've been here for about 9.5 years now, living in this community. And I've got all kinds of questions that are really provincial related, but tie directly into what goes on in this community. We look at the downturn that we're presently in right now. We went through the same thing in 2009. We probably went through the same thing in 2004, 1999, 1993. We can go on every 5 or 6 years. One of the things that we haven't acted upon in this community is the highway that accesses this community, which is strictly an impediment of getting business into this community. And it's a provincial issue, but I think it's something that people need to talk about in this community, and wishing that maybe we had more MLAs here. What is the push for getting better access to this community, to the downtown area? And there was other questions here about aging in place community for this community. This community is not a community that is just comprised of people that are working in their working lives. There's people here with this Golden Year Society that have been here for 40 years, and there's 4 generations of people in this community. We've heard recently that one of our former councillors and his wife had to vacate this community in order to get aging care that he needed. I think it's something that needs to be talked about. Why do we have people that have built this community for 40 and 50 years that have to leave this community? And what is the stress for the candidates? And I'll ask Michael and Verna, what is going to be your point when you get on council about getting better aging in place community for the residents that are in this community?
Yeah, the answer on that question.
Yeah, sure. Answers on the question of age, caring for the aged.
I've been following the seniors and their request for Willow Square pretty much since it started. I was horrified when the signs went up because I knew they didn't own the land. To me, that was politicking at its worst. Now that the land has been given from the federal government to the provincial government to the Wood Buffalo Housing and Development Corporation, it creates a bit of a pickle because of the way the letter was given to them. It almost bypassed the municipality. So we have to be able to look at that and work with it. The seniors I talk to don't want free housing. They want to pull their share, and that's awesome. What I see happening is having that square developed responsibly where it's sustainable, because you've heard over and over again that it's not a municipal sort of deal. The municipality is trying to deal with it as best they can. In that, because the land is leased and it's not something that you can actually buy, if they turn it over for the dollar for a 99-year lease, if you take out the price of the land, which is was valued at about $6 million an acre, you now have affordable housing through property values that don't have that land. When we all buy land and we buy our houses, the reason why we're paying $700,000, $800,000 is because the land is starting at $350,000 for a little 28 by 100 square foot plot. When you take that factor out of that equation, you now have affordability because you've now reduced those prices by that much. So to me, that's how they can responsibly do it. The seniors have to lead it. They have to lead with Buffalo and tell them what they need to create that magic model. What that is, I don't know. I know a new term that I heard is a living lease. Living lease is where the seniors grow in all the different areas and their spouses live with them till they never run out.
Thank you. So that's 2 minutes. Anybody else on this matter?
Simply ask
Thanks for the question, Kevin. Seniors issues has been, it was actually the very, very first story that I ever wrote when I moved to Fort McMurray, and I immediately got personally connected to that issue. It was a provincial mandate. It was provincial responsibility. I was shoved onto the municipality as far as Willow Square goes. And we're going to have to try to do the best that we can. There's so many issues with that particular piece of land as well to develop it. We need to keep that so that it is affordable for seniors. If we build a complex that they can't even afford to use, that's not going to be any good to the seniors either. I sat in meetings with our MP and our MLAs and our mayor, where they actually said, where the mayor said, give us the land and we'll build it ourselves. So I feel that we committed some ways that we were going to move ahead to help the seniors in the community, and I think that we should be responsible for those types of commitments as well. I don't know how that looks because, again, it was a provincial responsibility. Parsons Creek is promising once they get the shovels in the ground up there. 100 beds are needed, but we definitely need Willow Square as well. With Buffalo Housing is in a really difficult place right now, I think, and they haven't really been given a directive from council, so I'd like to see some more communication between the Buffalo Housing and council on this issue. They're planning several more input sessions with the community, and I know that the seniors have been using their voice very, very strongly. They have a petition of over 5,000 people now where they want their development done their way, and I think that's a fair.
Thank you very much. Anybody else want to ask on this question or to me? I know that Mohammed Dogar has to leave at the moment. He has got another appointment, so we will excuse him. Sorry, we're going to miss your voice here, brother.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else for a question, please? Just step up to the. You can also come just after it. You can speak. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, Willie, mine's going to be just a little disjointed, and I do apologize for that because I just did have one question sort of answered.
Just speaking to the mic, so thank you.
One thing I was glad to hear was that you're all talking commitment to the community and making the municipality more accountable to the community, because we all know, or many of us do, the municipality has a reputation for doing what it likes and deciding what it wants, no matter what the community says. We're just kind of consultation sessions. And one of my examples was going to be waterfront. Tonight has been cleared, but nobody wanted to say why. There's been no plans approved for the Boulevard. Now, Mike, you concerned me when you said the arena is a done deal. From my understanding, there are ways out of it, and then this Golden Buffalo development. It's not the first I've heard of it, but I had thought it had gone away because no movement had been made on it. I'm all for an arena, and you are the second person I've ever heard for that arena downtown. I keep hearing in conversations around the community that stupid arena, what a stupid place for it, why don't they put it somewhere else? But no, but there's very little appetite for it downtown. And I hear that you're saying you want high density and all of this. However, what I've never heard, but I hear on the community level, is we are a unique northern community. We need a unique northern downtown that reflects that community. And also, if you have, say, your dance club has 100 people in it, your snowmobile club has 500, what does that tell you about your demographics? Maybe that's not the downtown that's needed for this area. So what I'd like to know is, when I hear the accountability burden that you were bringing up, and I'll put this to both of you, what are you going to, like, we've heard this all before, so how can I believe you this time that you're going to believe us? Or we can believe you, sorry. Don't like public speaking, go figure. But also,
That's why you're not running for council.
I know, right? I know. And then also, when can we see a northern downtown core that's built for our northern community?
So the question is to Veronica.
Verna
and
and Mike.
Mike, just get Mike first then, please.
Right, thank you for that question.
You're welcome, Mike.
I was one of the people who actually opposed the downtown location. So the comment I said, it's a foregone conclusion that it's downtown. Remember the last election we had a major change in our council. We elected 3 new council people to try to deal with that exact situation. Guess what? But 3 of them worked one way. So we had a major change. They weren't able to do it. They've come pretty much to the same conclusion. So what's going on? As far as that downtown arena goes, the problem started when the land was expropriated. The land was expropriated, and unfortunately, they used a very specific term, and they said it was for a downtown entertainment center. Once you specified what the land was going to be expropriated for, you set in motion certain things. Now, if you stop doing that, you could potentially be $1 million plus in the hole. Not only the land you bought, but you may have to hand all that land back to the original owners.
That's my understanding, is that you could go back and pay the additional difference in expropriation of the original pay for a different purpose.
You can go through the legal process. Once again, that's that knowledge we're talking about, to actually change that purpose. But it's not going to stop the lawyers from lining up with those people who sold those properties or were forced to sell those properties in annexation period.
All right, thank you. So 2 minutes, sorry.
But she asked me a question, so I'll get 2 minutes.
Interruption, 15 seconds, eh?
Thanks for the question, Carol. As far as the accountability part that you mentioned towards the end there, those 46 recommendations that I mentioned at the beginning, once they're implemented, there's accountability in those procedures and policies that that's the absolute groundwork that has to be set. And then when we're facing other things like this downtown arena, that's not going to happen in the future. I mean, there's going to be proper procedures in there for expropriation and everything. I've been on over 2,000 doorsteps myself. I've heard 2 people out of all those people say that they wanted the downtown development done. I totally disagree with Mike. I don't think it's a done deal. I think that we can pay the expropriation fees or penalties and we won't be as far in the hole if we continue with it. We have a strong economic development team within the municipality itself that I've been talking to over the last number of weeks. They're really excited. Like, if it's not the entertainment center, they're ready to try to get more developers down there to develop and diversify those businesses downtown. So we're not stuck with that for any way, shape, or form. And I think Keith's down in the corner. He'd be a great guy to say yay or nay if it's a done deal, right? And I don't think he's going to say yes for any type of thing. You can't say it's already a done deal.
The only thing that's a done deal is when you're born and when you die, everything else is up for grabs.
Thank you very much. Our next question. Okay, please, just quiet. Does somebody want to ask a question? Thank you.
So my question is for Colleen or any other councillor who would like to answer. So as you know that in Alberta and a lot in Fort McMurray, the oil price has gone low a lot. So then lots of people are moving and they're handing their keys, their home keys, to the bank because they cannot pay their mortgage. So what would you as a councillor do to attract people to come to Fort McMurray for looking for jobs and to have a better quality of life and better home?
Thank you. Well, I think that whole piece centers around livability and a home that is strong and ours. And I think that there's a lot of things that we can do to make our home more reflective of who we are as a community. And a certain type of person moves to Fort McMurray. It's a person that is a risk taker, a person that's determined, a person that has that pioneer spirit that I keep speaking about. And I think that we need to capitalize on that and stop thinking that, well, Vancouver does it this way and New York does it this way and it works there, so let's do it here. We are unique, and we need to really understand what that is and what our values are and attract people to our community that have those same values and needs as we do. And ways that we can do that is continue having the conversation nationally. We have had, the Globe and Mail has a person here full-time for a year right now. They're doing a project on Fort McMurray. There's a person came and did pictures of me. He's doing a picture book of what Fort McMurray is. I think there's a lot of conversations happening about what is Fort McMurray really? And you hear all the time people say, I came here and I thought it was this, and now I realize that it's not, and I love it. So we need to capitalize on that, but further to that is we need to make the community available for the people that are here. So that means exactly the conversations that we're having need to continue about having more retail, having more services, having healthcare, having all of these things that create a healthy community, and having it reflect us, the people that have chosen to live here and that have made this our home.
Thank you. You asked for 2 people, right? Or any other person? Anybody else? Thank you. Dave, you want to sit? Sure. This is your time to shine since nobody wanted to ask you questions.
Thank you for the question. I think it's an incredible question, and it's reality. There are lots of people that are suffering right now. People are going to hand back their keys, and the sad part is, right now, there's going to be more. It's going to get worse, at least for the foreseeable future. One of the things we can do is we can partner with different levels of government. We need to not be afraid to suck up our differences and engage with different political parties. Whoever is the government of the day, we need to find ways to work with them. There was a bill on the table not too long ago by an NDP MP that was trying to make mobility easier. We need to partner with the oil companies. We need to talk to them about why they moved away from local hire. And I wrote about it not too long ago. A lot of the reason PFOs started to happen was a lack of infrastructure. The clients got tired of having their employees sit on the highways for 2 hours each way after they worked a 12-hour day. It became convenient to keep them on site. They actually preferred to use the on-site workforce rather than the local, because the local was unpredictable. So we need to get back to hiring back local, but we also need to put the infrastructure or work with them on infrastructure to get their people out. We built an overpass at Timberlea. When that overpass was built, it had to be rebuilt. There was only 1 lane of traffic there. It needed to be 2. It actually caused more backup than the lights at the bottom of the boulevard. So clients got frustrated. We're working with them. I mean, where I work, we partner with the client. Their success is our success. We communicate on each and every level. We need to talk to all the stakeholders. We need to bring in the unions and the labor providers.
Anybody else wants to? Yes, sir.
I've heard this question before. I've also heard a lot of doom and gloom about our economy. When we sit on municipal council, we have to make decisions that are going to last for years. It's not quite that simple. We have to be able to go through the highs and lows because, as was mentioned earlier, business cycles or cycles in business happen about every 7 years. Typically, when business slows down, government picks up. When government picks up, we need those projects to go ahead to create that foundation and that diversification that we heard, it was Monty talked about earlier. That diversification in the places where we have to offer and the infrastructure that the municipality sets up our futures. It creates jobs during the build, and it creates jobs after these structures are built for people. Hopefully in that, we also build some affordable housing, being responsible how we go about doing that. Now there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and I'm not in a position where I would want to promise anything, because I believe you have to know the facts on both sides before you can truly answer that question. Thanks.
Thank you.
I just want to speak to that.
Yeah, sure, please.
I'll be brief. I just think that we've also got to start thinking a little bit out of the box. When I talk diversification, I meant we've got to stop our dependency just on the ebb and flow of the price of oil. We have enough people from all over the world here with enough intelligence, with enough ideas to give us another option for why people should be in Fort McMurray, why should they want to come to Fort McMurray. We can't just stop and let's worry about the price of oil, talk to industry. Let's talk to us. I think the people here have that ability and to make this an advantageous place for people to come to, even if oil is at $40 a barrel.
Thank you. Next question. Thank you, sir.